Imagine you read 1 hour a day about history. How much you will learn after 365 hours in 1 year. Think about if you study about the history of musicians, of composers, how much you would know. Imagine if you would work on a business, on some business that you want to develop every day for an hour. Imagine how further along you will go and get. So it drives me nuts because when people say we don't have the time. The most important thing is that you have a vision, that you have a goal. Because without that vision and without that goal, again, you're drifting around and you're never going to end up anywhere. People don't become successful just by accident. Never ever think small. If you're going to accomplish anything, you have to think big. You have to go and shoot for the stars. The biggest challenge most people have is because they think small. And the reason why people think small and why they choose small little goals is because they're afraid to fail. They know that if you shoot for a big goal, then the chances of failing are very high. And they're afraid of failing. It's one of the most common things why people are frozen and why they can't make a move in life, because they're scared of failing. I say to myself, hey, I'm not worried about failing because that's part of life. You're not going to go and win everything. And how far can you fall? Look at this. This is the ground. That's as far as I can fall. And you know something? That the only time you really consider the failure is if you fall and you don't get up. Look, everyone has a problem with time. But the day has 24 hours. And we sleep 6. Now, I know there's some out there that say, whoa, I need 8. Well, I say just sleep a little faster. Because the bottom line is we have 6 hours of sleep, 24 hours are available, so you have 18 hours now available to your work, your family, your hobbies, and also to learn something new. When I came to this country, I went to school, I was working in construction, I was working out my 5 hours a day. I was taking acting classes from 8 o'clock at night to 12 midnight. I was doing all of those things. I wanted to make sure that out of the 24 hours of the day, that I don't waste one single hour. Those hours were too precious. None of us can make it alone. None of us. Not even the guy that is talking to you right now. That was the greatest bodybuilder of all times. Not even me that has been the Terminator and went back on time to save the human race. Not even me that fought and that killed predators with his bare hands. I always tell people that you can call me anything that you want. You can call me Arnold, you can call me Schwarzenegger, you can call me the Austrian Oak, you can call me Schwarzi, you can call me Arnie, but don't ever call me a self-made man. But this is so important for you to understand. I didn't make it that far on my own. To accept that credit or that mantle would discount every single person that has helped me to get here today, that gave me advice, that made an effort, that gave me the time, that lifted me up when I fell. And it gives the wrong impression that we can do it alone. None of us can. The bigger your goals are, and the more outrageous they are, then the people will always say, this is crazy, this will never happen. So, we have heard all the naysayers and everything like that. And you just cannot pay any attention to that, because it's just the way it is. I always feel like if I can see it, and if I can believe it, then I can achieve it. So let me tell you something, visualizing your goal and going after it makes it fun. You got to have a purpose no matter what you do in life. You got to have a purpose. So the training of the body, extremely important. The training of the mind, extremely important. That's why I say to people, I say you got to educate yourself, you got to read something every day, you got to learn a new language, you got to just always improve and look at what can you do to improve your business or your life in general. So when someone says, no, this is a stupid idea, You in your mind, you don't have to say it, but in your mind just say this, you. You're an Or do you know? There are certain things that we need to do that is supposed to be a routine, that's supposed to be kind of part of your daily schedule without you having to think about it. And so that's basically my kind of routine, and I'm a big believer in that. People should just realize that I'm not going to have any sympathy for any of those things, when someone says it's difficult, because there is a lot of things in life that are difficult. And you have to ask yourself the question right off the top, are you going to be one of those guys that are going to go and back off every time something is difficult? Or do you want to be one of those guys that says, look, it doesn't matter if it's easy or difficult or most difficult, I'm going to go and crush through it. That's me. That's the person that I want to be, and I'm going to prove it to myself, and I'm going to prove it to the rest of the world. So yeah, there are certain things that are difficult. It's difficult for people to have a routine, but they just have to go and do that, and they should just work on it, where they go and say, do something very simple. I'm going to go and get up every morning at, let's say, an hour early, before they normally get up, and just work on that. And then the next time they work on it and say, okay, I'm going to get up early, and I'm going to go and make my coffee or my tea or whatever, and I'm going to read papers, even though maybe I haven't read the paper yet in the last 10 years. Just add that to you, and don't even ask about it, should or should I not. That's the key thing about the routine, is that you don't ask yourself, should I or shouldn't I? You just do it. Now let me get right away to the first rule of success. The first rule of success is to have a vision. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you go, and if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere. It's like you can have the best ship in the world, you can have the best airplane in the world. If the pilot or the captain doesn't know where to go, it would just drift around. It would not end up anywhere, or most likely in the wrong place. So I was very fortunate that I stumbled onto my vision. I mean, as you know, I was born in 1947 in Austria after the Second World War. And I didn't really like Austria when I grew up. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I couldn't see myself becoming a farmer or a worker in a factory or anything like that. Even though my parents wanted me to stay there and have a normal life. My father wanted me to become a police officer like he was. My mother wanted me just to stay there and marry a girl with the name of Heidi, hopefully, and have a bunch of kids and run around like the Van Trapp family in The Sound of Music. But that was their vision, not mine. Because when you have a goal, when you have a vision, everything becomes easy. Because remember that in America, for instance, when you study, you will see the percentage of people that like their jobs. 74% hate their job in America. Now, there is not much different when you come to Europe. The majority of people don't like what they're doing because they're really not doing it because they didn't have a goal and they followed this goal. They just aimlessly drift around, and then all of a sudden there's a job opening, so they get that job because you have to work. But then when you work, it's a chore. It's work. It's not fun. So if you think about, only a quarter of the people really enjoy what they're doing in life. That is unbelievable if you think about it. So I felt so blessed that I knew what I was doing. It's like a medical student that studies and knows he wants to become a doctor. You know where to go. Don't listen to the naysayers. Everything I ever did, the thing that I heard out of people's mouth was, that's impossible. That can't be done. Or no. I remember when I wanted to be a bodybuilding champion, including my parents and everyone else around me, said this is impossible. Why don't you become a ski champion? That's what they do in Austria. Or a bicycle champion, or do some track and field. You can't be a bodybuilding champion. That is exactly what I heard, and of course I proved to the people that it can't be done. So whenever someone said to me, it can't be done, I heard it can be done. When they said no, I heard yes. And when they said it's impossible, I heard it is possible. Because I am a strong believer. I'm a strong believer what Nelson Mandela said, that everything is always impossible until someone does it. Well, I'm going to be the one, I said to myself, I'm going to do it and I'm going to show it to them. Maybe it has never been done before. That's perfectly fine with me. But I'm going to do it. Work your off. There is no magic out there. And it drives me crazy when people say that they don't have enough time to go to the gym for 45 minutes a day and work out. Or to do something for 45 minutes to an hour a day to improve. If it is physically improve or if it is mentally to improve. Imagine you read 1 hour a day about history. How much you will learn after 365 hours in 1 year. Think about if you study about the history of musicians, of composers, how much you would know. Imagine if you would work on a business, on some business that you want to develop every day for an hour. Imagine how further along you will go and get. So it drives me nuts because we have, when people say we don't have the time, we have 24 hours a day. We sleep 6 hours a day, so that gives you still 18 hours. Now there's someone shaking their head out here in front. They say probably, I don't sleep 6 hours, I sleep 8 hours, right? But just sleep faster. So we have 18 hours a day. The average person works around 8 to 10 hours. So let's assume it's 10 hours, so we have 8 hours left. Then you travel around an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day. So now you have still 6 hours left. So what do you do with these 6 hours? What do you do with these 6 hours? Then we eat a little bit, then we schmooze a little bit, talk a little bit to people and all that stuff. But you can see how much time there is available if you organize your day. So you got to work hard.
Bottom line is, and why I like to do those seminars or those lectures or those motivational speeches or whatever you may call it, is because you can pump up people and you can really give them this extra push that they need. Give them encouragement, give them get them into a positive thinking mode and all of those things. Because I know that I'm a product of exactly that. Yeah. I remember that when I was 15 years old and picking up this magazine and reading about Reg Park, I was so pumped up. I went home and all of the things that I hated at home and all of the things that I hated in school all of a sudden disappeared. Because now I had a purpose. Now I knew where I was going. I read it in the magazine, I said, this is what Reg Park did. Oh yeah, he came from a poor place, Leeds. It was a factory town, it was dirty and polluted and everything like this. And that's where he grew up. That's kind of the way I grew up here. And, you know, I followed his footsteps and it worked. And so this is why it is so, when he just through a magazine has this kind of a power over me. Yep. Imagine now if we go there and tell people, live, you can do it. You can do it. You can be the greatest. Do it. Go for it. Get to the chopper. You know, whatever. I mean, it's like you pump people up, and so this is why I like doing it, because I feel like I'm a product of a lot of encouragement from so many people. So I want to do the same, because remember, in the end, I always say we're not judged by how much we make, but we're judged by how much we give back. Nice. How much do we give? So that's what I want to give something back.